So, with COVID, many things have changed. How is it different now?
Well, before we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
We could not leave the house. We could not work outside. We could not see friends, family in Europe. This is. Now, things are different. Life is almost normal. I have to wear a mask, but life is almost normal. I see my friends, I go to work, I can use the transport, everything's easy. But in Australia, before, things were open, things were free. Now they are in lockdown.
Are you less scared now?
I was not scared before. I was bored. But I followed all regulation. I stayed by myself in my house. So the first lockdown, I had an apartment alone. I lived by myself. So I went crazy.
I understand.
So I changed my house to live with people. So at least I had company, because it is important to have company. Did you have company during the lockdown?
Yes, I was also very scared, but I think I was more bored and I did live with my family.
Okay.
Yes. I live with my mother and my brother, but we learned to get along.
Was it difficult to get along?
Our house is a little bit small, so at the start it was kind of hard, but it got easier.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it got easier.
So, were you working during COVID?
My work had to change to online, which I didn't enjoy so much. I love face-to-face and personal interaction. But now I have embraced being partly online. So it is convenient to be able to stay in my house. I save time. But I like as well going out to work because I can socialize and keep my motivation high. So I believe for me, it's good to have a mix. So how about you? What do you do, and did it change with COVID?
I'm a student, so it was easier before COVID, I think. Some things are easier now, and I appreciate those things. I can wake up much later.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go to another city because I study in Pavia, or I can also follow a lesson or a recording. That makes it a lot easier for many students and some of my friends as well. But I think it's a lot easier to get distracted, and I don't feel as engaged with some
Okay.
lessons. It can be very hard to study.
So, do you remember your school, and what was it like?
Yeah, I do. When I was in Toronto, I actually enjoyed a lot of the things you said. We laughed a lot and we played a lot. I'll always remember when I was in the 4th year after kindergarten, so in the 4th grade,
How old is that?
I was 10 years old.
10 years old, okay.
And I will always remember how we would do some French and some English, but for English we had to do a play. and I got to perform as Macbeth, and that was the best thing I ever did. It was the most fun I ever had at school, and I'll always be grateful for my teacher for making us do that.
You know, you brought a memory to me. We did Latin at school, and I really wasn't taking it expecting to learn anything, but we had to make like a volcano with like bicarbonate of soda and vinegar, and we had like plays about a family in Pompeii, and we did comic strips, and I still remember Caecilius es Pater and other pieces of Latin. However, I studied French for 5 years. We did memorization of vocabulary. I don't know any French. It's quite bad.
So, have you seen this show on Netflix called Castlevania?
I love Castlevania.
Oh my god.
It's so good. But I love like anime and cartoons. I think they can do more than normal actors acting. And you also have a lot of big names now joining adult cartoons. So I was watching Archer yesterday. You've got like Christian Slater, there's like what's his name, Key from Key and Peele, and it's huge actors now joining like anime.
Would you say that Castlevania is like your favorite, or because I know it's one of my favorite shows?
It's one of my favorites, but I don't know what I would say my favorite. My mood changes. And what about films? Are you watching any good films recently?
Recently, I've rewatched a film that's called Martin Eden. Lots of people call it Martin Eden, but it's actually based on a novel. And it's the recent 2019 film that is based on this novel by Jack London, the guy who wrote The Call of the Wild, so pretty famous. I like it so much because the photography is beautiful, and the actor Luca Marinelli is very good. I think that it was an interesting pick to set the story in a city that isn't San Francisco. They decided to set it in Italy. So it's such a weird thing to do for a movie. It's almost surreal. But besides that, I can't really think of another one. What about you? Have you seen any movies recently?
Well, I always like movies that are not in a franchise. So I don't enjoy like Marvel or maybe now the new like Suicide Squad, because then I have to watch Black Widow, I have to watch Ant-Man, and I feel that's too much commitment. However, I do love Bond, and I don't know, I'm excited to know who the new actor is. I mean, did we know already?
I'm not sure. I think it might have been a rumor, but was it Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson.
Is it him?
I don't know, but like I've gotten so used to Daniel Craig doing it.
Really? Wow.
So I would love if they choose someone really shocking. Like, I mean, I don't know. What about like Beyonce or something? No?
I suppose that would make for an interesting take, because I think that would work for a spy movie. You know, you have James Bond and you believe he's a man, but it turns out that it's just an alias, and then it's a double agent who is a woman and pretends to be a man and dresses up like a man. I like those thriller themes. That's really cool as a concept, but I'm actually really used to the classic James Bond and like Sean Connery.
Yes. So I mean, you could always have a more classical actor like Clive Owen. Would be much more of a traditional fit.